Welcome back to ESBR Boxing. My name is Gregory Doyle. I am delighted this evening to be joined by my colleague, Niall O'Connell. We have just witnessed a tremendous performance by Dalton Smith. He has stopped three-time world title challenger Jose Cepeda in round 5. Niall, first of all, just want to ask how you are tonight, and what did you make of that stoppage?
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm all good, and I have to say, I'm seriously impressed by that performance. I think that's a big, big statement to stop Jose Cepeda. You know, the only person who stopped him before, like legitimately, is Regis Prograis. You know, he went a majority decision to Jose Ramirez, lost to Hitchens by decision. Terry Flanagan stopped him, but it was a shoulder injury. I think that's a serious statement win from Dalton Smith. I thought he looked brilliant. I picked Dalton Smith to win the fight, but I thought it was going to be a decision win. I thought it was going to be a points win and a very tough night at the office. But I'm really surprised and impressed that he managed to stop Jose Cepeda. A great night at the office for Dalton Smith.
Absolutely. Let's break it down now. What I noticed from round number 1, it seemed as though it was quite a calculated approach by Dalton Smith. He seemed to respect the power a lot of Jose Cepeda. He didn't overcommit. He almost seemed to let Cepeda take lead in the opening rounds just to see what he was going to do. Do you think that that was a really smart move by Dalton Smith? And it almost, when he upped the pace, maybe late round 2, early round 3, it made Cepeda realise that he was in with a kid who was very disciplined and he knew what he was doing in there.
100%. I totally agree. I think it was the perfect game plan from Smith. You know, he had to box so responsibly here, be aware of that power, that big left hand of Zepeda, and I thought he done it really well. He looked very kind of, I don't want to say tentative, but he looked very kind of careful the first couple of rounds, and Zepeda looked very confident. He looked like the more experienced fighter. He looked like he was, yeah, he looked like he was the war horse there in the two of them. But as you mentioned, late round 2, kind of you could see the shift in Dalton Smith. The more he let his hands go and pick the shots, you could see him growing confidence. You can see him kind of loosen up in there on Zepeda, and he just boxed brilliantly then until the finish. So I thought it was a really game plan perfectly executed there from Dalton Smith tonight. I thought he boxed beautifully, and as I say, I think he grew in confidence as that fight went on, and you could see when he kind of avoided that power early and he settled into his own rhythm himself, started to dictate that pace on Zepeda, and he was just too versatile for him in the end. And yeah, I thought it was a really, really smart, clever, good performance from Dalton Smith there.
Yeah, what I picked up on, Niall, as you say that there, I thought it was very good the way that he broke down Cepeda. Commentary, I couldn't help but take notice tonight. They said that Dalton Smith, he really likes to fight southpaws. The last southpaw that he beat, I think they said it was Samuel Mason for the British title. I find it really strange that an orthodox fighter enjoys fighting a southpaw because both styles can be very, very awkward for each other, especially if one gets the backhand off better than the other. Looking at the fight tonight, you've seen stages where Dalton Smith, he was coming over the top of Zepeda's lead hand with his left hook. It was almost as though they mentioned about him stepping on the foot of a southpaw, etc. Do you think we could tell tonight that Dalton Smith does enjoy fighting southpaws and it's an environment that he's very comfortable in?
Yeah, it seems to be. It's very good point that you make there about the clash of styles between the two and how well Dalton Smith did deal with that, you know. So I do think I'd agree with yourself and the commentary in terms of he does seem to be very comfortable fighting southpaws, which is a rare kind of a rarity in the sport, especially when it's one as kind of tricky as Jose Zepeda and as dangerous as Jose Zepeda, you know, who has the power as well along to go along with the kind of southpaw stance, that trickiness. But I thought Smith handled it very well there tonight, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, final few questions from me now. First one being, with this victory tonight, do you think that that was a great step up for Dalton Smith? Because a lot of people thought that that fight tonight, it was going probably from D level fighter with the greatest respect to a level B, a B plus. Do you think that that was quite smart matchmaking tonight from Matchroom? And does it show that Dalton Smith he's quite comfortable at that fringe world level now.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it is like although it is quite clever matchmaking, but Jose Zepeda is still incredibly dangerous. You know, even though he's on the latter stages of his career, you know, he's 30, 34 now, he's seen better days, but that is still a huge step up for Dalton Smith tonight. You know, I mentioned there at the start of the video, I picked Dalton Smith to win, but I thought it'd be on points. I could not foresee Dalton Smith stopping this man. You know, Zepeda, who's only been stopped by Regis Prograis, as I mentioned. And I was kind of thinking, like, I was worried for Dalton Smith tonight, to be honest. I did rate Dalton Smith, and as I say, I picked him to win. But if Jose Zepeda had went in there and knocked him out, I wouldn't have been hugely surprised. You know, it's such a big step up, as you mentioned. No disrespect to who he fought before, but it's absolute levels above. And I thought it was great matchmaking and a great statement to stop him. Not only to get the win, but to stop him in that fashion is huge for Dalton Smith. It really is.
Absolutely. Do you think it shows signs of Dalton Smith's ring craft? If we look at the shot that stopped the fight, it was almost like a feint left hook, feint jab to the head, and then
Mm.
and very, very neatly with a straight shot to the body. We spoke briefly about this off camera. You don't see many fighters that get stopped with a straight shot to the body. Does
Mm.
that show, as I said earlier in the video, that we're looking at a fighter that maybe has special morals, looking back to an old-fashioned fighter who is just very, very focused in their career and can blank the outside world out? Is that Dalton Smith for you?
100%. Again, it's a great point that you bring up, and as you say, we were talking off camera. And I didn't realize it until you brought it up. To be honest, you're great for the kind of technical aspect and kind of dissecting the technical side of the game. And you compared it to a great fighter in Eric Morales. You know, that shot, the way he set it up and the execution was brilliant. It really was. And yeah, it does show kind of his IQ, his ring IQ to pull that off against such an experienced fighter and in Jose Zepeda. It really does. As I said, it's not. I didn't really realize how rare the shot was, you know, the technique until you mentioned it to me, you know, and it's only when you sit back and realize it's like, yeah, to pull that off is it's a peach of a shot. It really is a great shot and a great finish.
Fantastic stuff. Now, final question from me and tonight's reaction. Dalton Smith, just in a few words, is Dalton Smith, are we looking at a world level fighter who's going to go in and win a world title?
I think we're definitely looking at a world level fighter. You know, definitely at that level. Whether we're talking about world titles, especially in the current state of 140, you know, you've got some of the best fighters in the world. You've got Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney holding world titles. So that may be a bit of a leap there. But as we're gonna kind of discuss in the what's next video, there's fighters there within top 10 of governing bodies that I'd fancy Dalton Smith to be. Most of them, to be quite honest with you, most of the top 10 in the world, Dalton Smith, you know, I'd have to pick him. I really would. I think he is that good. So I think he's definitely fringe world level at least. Whether he's world championship level, who knows? It's a tough division. As I mentioned, Teo, Haney, you've got Subriel Matias, Rolly Romero, the champions, but I think Dalton Smith can hold his own with the best of the rest. I really do.
Fantastic stuff. Now, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in and looking at me and Niall reacting tonight to Dalton Smith stopping Jose Cepeda in round number 5. So some fantastic insight there from Niall. If you want to see more from us, check out all of our content on the YouTube channel. We'll have so much coming out over the next few days in reaction more to this fight. Niall, thank you so much for joining me. And yes, everyone, tune in to ESPR Boxing for more content and news.
Cheers. Take care.